Okay, Chris, we're ready to hear from you.
All right. Some changes that I've been talking about have finally been implemented, so. You'll notice on your warrant, rather, I apologize. And I kept two of the same ones, so somebody must have two of the same one. There is a new page for you to sign on the top of the warrant that I gave you a copy. And the reason that I changed it is what is in yellow will be the total amount for what is spent out in invoices, bills, whatever, for this warrant. And then it itemizes out what we get reimbursed back into the checkbook down through. Account number 0265 reimburses us, and I'm looking at counting $3,958.59.76. So I just wanted to be able to show exactly what the money is in and out. So at the very bottom of that square, you're going to see the net amount that came out of the checkbook.
Yeah.
Because we had to add back in what we had to take out of reserves. At the very bottom, again, this is what we're spending. So that's the explanation on that. As of this morning, our county checkbook has $701,237.27. Our jail checkbook has $104,193.42. Our expenses, county is at 9% and jail is at 7%. And I've already given you the warrants to sign. I hope you like the new format. If there's any thing that you want to change on that, please let me know. But my goal is to make it very simple to be able to match everything up. The second thing I want to talk about is, I don't know, are they introducing you at some point, Susan? Are you doing that, Barb? Are you going to introduce Susan?
I can, absolutely.
But I was going to talk about her now, so
yeah, Annette actually is the one who is she's gonna come in during this. But we should, I mean.
And I just wanted to give some credit to Susan, so. So the binders that are over off to the left of Commissioner Shorey are set up for each reserve that we have: capital reserve, active reserve, restricted reserve, jail reserve. And then there's another binder that is a combination of a couple of stragglers: our health account, our savings account, and our the opioid settlement. Each binder, which thank you, Susan, for putting those together for me. Each binder will show you on the very front colored page how much is in each account and how much we had collected for interest for the month. Then if you go through, there are tabs for each individual account, and it will show you exactly what's in the bank account, exactly what we moved in and moved out, so everything is clear. I just wanted to bring to your attention, last year, the entire year, we collected $22,247.66 in interest for all the county and jail interest.
Say that number again, just so the listening audience
The
can hear.
entire year, January to December, we collected $22,247.66.
And how much have we collected so far this year?
Well, I want to just put a small preface in there. Out of that $22,247.66, $15,604.44 were collected in the last 2 months of the year after I started making changes. So, in essence, the county collected $6,643 for 10 months of interest.
Last year.
Last year with Camden National Bank. For this year, for January only, all reserve accounts and including county and jail checkbook, we have collected in 1 month $20,363.62. So we almost matched in 1 month what we did in the whole year last year.
That's incredible.
Almost unbelievable. Yes.
That's
Very, very good.
absolutely incredible. Well done.
Very
Well
good.
done.
Thank you.
Well done.
You know, Chris was telling me that, you know, had that expense we were worrying about, the interest payment.
Yeah.
She said, well, we probably can do 100,000 easy, maybe 200,000. I said, well, either one would be good.
Yeah.
But when we start talking about $20,000 in 1 month versus 6,600 in 10 months. That shows you where we are.
What's our interest rate? 3.9?
3.8 is the revenue interest rate. Our TAN interest rate is 4.7. I do expect to borrow the last warrant of February. Although perhaps I can squeak by one more, and maybe it'll be the first one in March.
Which isn't unusual. We usually are borrowing in February anyway.
Bill tried to get me to estimate what we expected for the year. And I told him that we needed to have Dale stop spending ARPA money.
Don't pay your bills, Dale.
Because of course, that's where a good chunk of it is. But I do expect that we will do somewhere in the ballpark of, I'm really hoping for 150 to 200,000.
That's
And I
awesome.
can also say that interest rates, prime lending rate went up another 1/4 point yesterday. I believe it was yesterday. And I expect at least another 1 to 1.5 points before the end of the year.
Yeah.
It would not surprise me to see 3 more points, but I expect at least a point. So with that being said, we are paying on our TAN rate much less than prime lending rate. So we're fortunate, and that's locked in, of course. And our revenue rate is locked in. So if something really weird happens and interest rates do fall, we are locked in at 3.8 for the year.
That's awesome.
Good job.
Awesome.
Good job.
Absolutely.
Very good job.
Yeah,
I move that we accept the finance report.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, we'll do the warrants.
Next to that, Jen.
The first one is the general fund accounts payable warrant in the amount of $377,871.56.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Next one is the jail accounts payable warrant and reserve warrant. I said accounts payable and reserve warrant in the amount of $77,555.92.
Sure. Yes, I move. Yeah.
All in favor?
Ooh, ooh.
Interest was telling me that our accountant will be probably unhappy with all the changes we've made, and I said, well, there's one thing our accountant needs to remember, he works for us, not for him. And I like some of the things that's happening there, on point, saving money, making money.
Well, we've got to do something to recoup or recover. Just a quick question with regards, it says under equipment repairs in our office is already over by 201%. What's that about?
That is because the Toshiba photocopier printer in the break room, there was because I've had to use that for the last 2 years because my printer's been broken for about 1.5 years anyway, or over a year.
Okay.
There was an overage and we didn't get their bill from them for the 22 overage until we'd already closed.
Okay, okay,
we've
so
got
this
2
is
years
still
going on.
okay.
Yep.
And with that being said, Commissioner Fowler, you're gonna find a lot that is gonna go.
As
for the end
long
of
as
the
that's
year
the explanation, perfect.
because of the way we closed.
Yeah, no, we asked you to close them December 31st. Okay, nope, that's perfect. Perfect, thank you. Thank you very much. Great report, Trish.
Thank you. If there's anything that you can find a way to tweak it that might be a little better, please let me know. I won't be offended at all. I'm trying to make this as transparent as possible.
No, this already is, really is. Excellent.
What's that?
Hmm.
Keith, can we hear from you?
Good morning, Keith.
Good morning. So exciting news in the world of facilities. I'm going to tender my resignation and retire after 15 years. So
What if we don't accept it?
that is as of the end of April. So that will give us close to 3 months for the transition.
Congratulations.
Good job on that.
Congratulations.
It's been a pleasure.
Are you excited? Does your wife have a list of stuff?
Well,
to do?
other than the fact that I'll be home with my 91-year-old mother. for
Making her
the
buy
next
dishes, baby.
Who knows how long we'll see.
Making your life miserable or hers miserable.
Well, I live with two women, so there's a couple of honey-do lists there.
We know
Mom's
where you're at.
list, Judy's list,
You're being recorded here.
so. I did print out somewhere, I printed out the name of the gentleman from Monroe that does the generators for you. I heard you looking for him, so I'll get that to you,
Okay,
Commissioner.
good, I appreciate that.
Oh, the other thing is that I'm gonna take a little vacation and go on a cruise, and
I'm here.
I'll be gone mid next week and then the following week, so.
Where you going?
I don't know, somewhere in the Caribbean, Curacao.
Wherever Judy tells you to go.
It doesn't matter to me as long as it's hot and sunny.
If that's your annual thing,
Yeah,
you know.
Well, COVID
Sound like
screwed us
it.
up. We had a really nice, sweet deal going, a nice scheduled cruise, and then the COVID thing happened and we couldn't go and got canceled and delayed. So this is, my brother's going and my sister, and so it'll be.
is mom going?
Mom
with
was,
mom?
she was this close, if I almost talked her into it, but she's like, I don't know, 90 years old on a cruise ship, you know, I'm like, well, we'll get you around, but.
Loading pina coladas poolside, I mean, come on.
The young fellow that's working for me, Chris, has been a real find. He's been up at the sheriff's office. They've switching offices all around. I don't know if you have been up there, but he has been painting with one of the residents. And installing floors up there. We took the carpets out and put in some of the engineered flooring, so. So we're moving things around. I think the sheriff's gonna move into his new office, which was the old gym. Remember the
Yep.
gym? So that's a little bit larger and it faces the front of the building, get a little better sunlight. So he wants to be there. So they're kind of all moving around up there, and we're renovating, you know, getting.
Oh, finding a home.
Yeah, they are, and so it's been good. We've been busy, so yeah.
Excellent. Keith, have you talked to Annette HR with regards to a job description for your position and posting that ASAP and?
I have, and I printed my job description, which is way out of date.
Yeah.
I think you folks, last time we updated was 2019. But of course, we've got new buildings coming on. We got rid of the property down by the airport, so, and we picked up new tower sites and new equipment, so I'll add all that stuff on and kind of extend that job description so that I'm working with her and I've talked to her about retirement, so that's in the works.
I mean, I'm just thinking time-wise, one of the things that I've learned is you need to post stuff for at least 2 weeks, and if you go on vacation, that's perfect.
Mm.
If she posts it, and that way when you come back, perhaps you guys could sit down and start.
Yeah.
Scheduling some.
I know that there early on, there was some interest as far as internal, you know, and I know you usually.
I think
post
we
that.
still have to post it both
Yeah,
ways.
yeah, you usually post it there and see if there's any, and then when Kelly and Mike Larrabee and I sat down and did the interviews with some of those folks previously. Some of them would have been suited better for my job than for the, you know, the tech job, so.
Maybe she can pull those applications.
Yeah, I think that might be a good thing to do and look at those, because I hear through the grapevine, there's a lot of interest out there, because it's a great job. I really thoroughly enjoyed it, so.
Good.
Yeah,
Cool, thank you.
yes, thank you. Barb has some contracts from revision that she did get printed, so, and they just need a signature and we'll shoot those back to
They only have
Andrew.
one.
Yep, that's
signature
okay.
line, and I wanted to point out, you're gonna see a few pages that I'm not having you sign because those are notice of cancellation if you decide to end the contract.
Sit on side.
Don't sign those, but I've got your name where.
So we discussed it,
I thought we motioned at the last meeting to
To
go
do
with
it.
sign the contracts.
and I was telling, Chris this morning, we have to make a 20% down payment with the contract, I think, is the way the contract needs reads.
Would you kindly make a new motion because he didn't have things firm
Okay.
set up for you last time? Thanks. That him
You got the
meeting Andrew Carl. had
contract,
some
and
things
you
to
wanna
do.
make the motion?
Yeah, I just was skimming it just to. I'm looking for the last page with the numbers.
I feel like some of the numbers were on earlier.
As far as we know, the rebate is still in effect, even though we're a
I know, I
government
was-
entity.
I was looking to see that or any of the numbers and I don't see it in.
That
That was
was
a big thing.
there.
Well, I read the
Yeah,
original
nobody-
contract, they stated,
nobody
I'm
said
glad
it.
you sign it because it doesn't have numbers in it. So.
Was there a 172,000 figure? Does that sound, is that ringing?
I
Well,
think-
I have that, remember that little cheat sheet? I do have a copy of that, that was. At 172,219
Yes.
was the original, and
Okay.
then there was the.
And then there's a
there's the-
$55,000
rebate. That-
Okay, I will make my motion as such, that we approve signing the contract with Revision Energy for a total of $172,219, showing the potential of an investment tax credit of $52,000 refund from the state. For the feds.
You went on those numbers in there.
I do, because I don't trust signing something that doesn't have a number in it.
Will you add the amount you want the check written for?
What's that?
Will you add the amount you want the check written for, or you just want to say?
It's gonna be 20%. It's gonna, the check
20%.
will be at 20%
So it'd be
of the deposit.
34,000
Yeah.
and change. right?
Very good, okay,
But I'll figure that out.
Yeah.
great, thank you.
All in favor?
Yep.
What's it, 2-2,
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's true too.
that's a good project to finally get finalized.
yeah, you got it.
yeah.
Let's put this with it.
I'll collect those from you, Barb, and make sure we understand what the down payment is, and
Do you
I'll,
want to take a video?
yeah, I can email you
Yeah.
folks with what that
And then I'll
down
get
payment is.
copies from you later
Okay,
or something.
thank you all, and I'll
Thank
be
you.
in touch.
Could you give these back to Barbara and she's checking on things, we'll sign in the right place.
Somebody mentioned it, I can't remember.
Keith,
who.
you're all set?
I am, thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just want to make you aware, there was a last minute change to the agenda. Jason Trundy will be coming in before I do correspondence. He had something he wanted to discuss with you, and Annette will meet with you during miscellaneous business.
And we'll have to add the
Executive session.
executive session after Mike's, oh, he's right here. Mike, you ready?
I am. I don't have much other than what's in the executive session, but new trainees doing well. Should be off desk here probably within a week or so. I've got another one in the pipeline, another former Penobscot County dispatcher with 10 years experience. She had
Keep
left.
going, Mike.
I know, she left, she had 10 years experience, she left to pursue something medical. So she went and became an MA, and then now she wants to come back in a dispatch, so we're gonna interview her and hopefully the next week or so.
How long has she been out of the business?
4 or 5 years.
Oh, okay.
She'll have to relearn, but
Yeah, yeah.
I actually think it's probably a good thing because now she won't.
Showing her
I-
bad habits.
Yeah, I have people bring things from other places and, yeah, that's about it. So,
So how many, we short now, Mike?
if she comes on board, we'll have 12 and then I'll only need 3 more. We're gaining.
Do we have any other applicants in the pipeline?
We've got one other, with no experience. We're gonna interview her at the same time.
Good.
Paul's working on that, this week to get that all squared away.
You know, I,
Excellent.
we had this, young guy that came in with HR. Of course,
I
he
know, I've dropped his,
wasn't
I've told him
qualified
that.
at all for that, but he was a nice young man.
We said that
thinking
guy.
about giving his name to Mike and just seeing if.
It might
there's
be,
some-
he really
Yeah.
was. The interview, he interviewed for a position that just wasn't right for
No, it
him.
wasn't right for
But
him.
literally, when he walked out of here, it was like. He'd be a great candidate, so it just wasn't that
Yeah,
position.
well, I told him if we had a job.
And we
would
did,
hire.
We all had that feeling like, wow, that's.
Maybe we need to do like group hiring. And then be like, okay, you're going there, you're going there, and
Yeah, but I mean, you laugh, you look at people and all of a sudden it's like, no, they work better over here or
Yeah.
whatever, and maybe they don't even know it, so,
yeah,
cool, yeah, no.
Yeah,
we'll find
that's
out
all
from
I've
you.
got.
I would make a motion to go into executive session, Title 1, 405, subsection.
Whatever.
I don't know, you'll get all worried, you put the right thing, so,
I don't know what it's for, I'm assuming not public.
yeah,
All in favor?
it won't be long. Good morning, Penny.
You want me to?
Penny, you're up.
We have not been introduced to this lady.
That's because HR was gonna make the official introduction, but
Oh, okay. I'm just curious.
you're really, who is that?
Why did you get a seat at the table and we don't?
Good. You just behave back there.
Okay, be good.
Penny, you're up.
See, now you get a seat at the table.
So, as you know, I have been on the county budget committee for
I was gonna say 8 years, but
7 or 8 years now, being the most senior member of the county budget committee. And since Peter Chef resigned, Waldo County has not had a treasurer. Waldo County GOP did not nominate someone to replace him, and nobody ran for treasurer in this past election. And I attempted to run as a write-in, but we found out through Melissa Packard, who's director of elections for the state, it was an obscure law, and I would have had to have declared by September the 6th. So I have been working with Senator Curry and Mr. Feely, who is the governor's legal aid. So we've been working on steps so that Governor Mills can appoint me. One of the suggestions from Senator Curry was to get the blessing of the county commissioners. I have, after 10+ years, updated a cover letter and my resume. So I guess my question to the commissioners is if you would endorse me and send a letter so that I can send to Governor Mills my cover letter and resume along with your endorsement.
You want an answer?
No, you're the chair.
It's a difficult thing for us to do, Penny, because there's more than one candidate, or we don't, we're non-political, so we don't write endorsements for anybody. And in the 12 years that I've been here, I've never seen one written for anybody. I don't know if you've seen one, Commissioner Johnson, have you seen one.
Well, it's not an endorsement for a candidacy, which
Well-
I would completely understand. This is an endorsement for an appointment by the governor.
I understand what I'm talking about, Penny. I don't need to be reminded. I know what the situation is, and the situation is, we don't send any letters or recommendations or anything on the appointment.
It was just brought to our attention a week or two ago, I guess, that there is another candidate that is interested in,
Being
That-
appointed,
yes,
okay,
in the position. And I said to both Bill and Betty, one, this office shouldn't even be political. You're absolutely right. I don't know where politics ever got into county government. That being said, it's only fair if you endorse one, you need to endorse both, and we've never been in that business.
Okay.
The GOP, and this is my understanding, Betty is by far more an expert than I am, Penny, but the GOP had the opportunity multiple times to nominate and put a name forth. And of course, they never did.
right.
So therefore, now it goes, it's like a free for all.
Open
right?
season. if you will.
Either party. So therefore, it's like, if you do for one, you have to do for all, so therefore we should yield.
Okay, no, I understand. So
I
I'll
think-
continue to work with Senator Curry and Mr. Feely from the governor's office.
I think your expertise and the paperwork and everything that you have speaks volumes without anything from this board,
Okay,
my thought.
okay. I was merely going by Senator Curry's recommendation.
Just
I
on the
think
other,
I will-
Senator Curry was just passing it off to someone else.
I don't believe that to be true, but I will let Senator Curry know your thoughts on that, as well as Mr. Feely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
thank you, Penny.
I'm out. I'm gonna get ready for the colds.
Oh, God, hunker down. Do you still have your possum?
Haven't seen him for a month and a half.
My mom has a possum now.
Does she?
Yes, she does. The white face.
Well, when I had that stray mama cat and all those kittens, I think that's when they took off, when he took off. So.
Penny, thank you for coming.
All right, thank you. What?
Was Jason hiding in my?
And it is made, yes, he's probably.
I see the things in try.
Keep in-
I'm sorry, it's Jason. Huh?
You wanna say it's
I do,
long conversation?
very short.
Good,
Come on,
Jason's
come
not
on,
here
come
yet. So
Forward, that's all I like, short
All right.
conversation.
quick, we'll take any Jason.
All right, well, you got one.
That's right.
Yeah, I'll actually be pretty short with you. So I was invited to attend a meeting a few weeks ago in Rockland by Chip Curry. He's our senator, but this invitation was actually as director of the University of Maine office in Rockland, where he's the director. So he invited law enforcement representatives from Waldo and Knox County, the sheriff's offices and a couple of the PDs to come. He had Noel Marsh there and he had a couple other representatives, one of them from the Harold L. Fund, Center for Workforce Development. So the reason for that particular meeting was to pitch a certificate course that the college has, and they wanted to pilot that with local law enforcement. The representative from the Alphon Center was there because they have an initiative that is designed around, I think they have a $60 million grant to do workforce development. And they were pitching to us that we could become members of the coalition to tap into that grant funding. So he explained to us what it was. Basically, it's no cost, no obligation from an employer to become a member. But what it does once you do is it allows you to get access to a certain amount of grant funding for each employee. And I believe that cap was, I think, somewhere around $1,200. I think it was per year. And up to 50% of any training that was designed specifically around workforce development, which is
in their view, very broad. So if you have any training that you do in-house, or you want to send an employee to a particular training, as long as it has a nexus to the job that they're doing and enhances that work, they will pay up to half of that training cost, reimbursed for it. So it was basically a pitch for us to be able to basically double our training line. So I know some other organizations that have done this. I know some of the local fire departments and because I know I've had one of the fire chiefs and his wife speak to me about the fact that they've done it to bolster their budgets. So I went back and while I was pondering the offer on the certificate program, and I got thinking about this, I thought, well, it's kind of a no-brainer to basically access free money and basically essentially double my training budget. But the reason I wanted to come talk to you is it just seemed to me to make a lot more sense for the county as a whole to enter into this and make it available to every county entity rather than the sheriff's office pursuing it independently. Because I know obviously that every one of our different departments seek training at some time throughout the year. And it didn't seem to me to make a lot of sense for the sheriff's office to solely to pursue it. So I thought I would bring it to you folks to see if it was something that you would be willing to allow me to maybe partner with Barb and see if I could get the county enrolled as a whole in the program to see if we could get that kind of reimbursement. And I will say the guy that came to the meeting and met with me volunteered. I told him I would probably be talking to the commissioners at some point about it. He did volunteer to come and answer questions if anybody had any questions directly for the center.
I think it would be good if we could talk to him, Jason. I don't know what you've got. I'd like to see some more info. So,
But also get them involved.
oh, yeah,
Human
yeah, certainly.
resources And volunteering.
Yeah, and training, that would be an ad.
For training.
But so Jason, just back up. I'm confused here. So they assist in paying for half of training costs for a particular, and you mentioned a fire department, a
Yep.
fire chief. So did they pay to put a young firefighter through firefighter 1, firefighter 2?
I think they will, yeah. They'll
No,
pay half the
that's what I'm
cost.
just,
Yep.
so for the sheriff's department, what could they do for me?
They will,
Would
any
they pay
training,
for half of the academy?
maybe,
I'm just asking,
Yeah.
somebody asked the stupid questions, you know, it's me.
yeah. No, I
Um,
think that's the purpose of it. I mean, the purpose of it is any training that you're gonna send people, and they gave me a handful of examples from different industries. They said basically the only thing that they may balk at is if, you know, if you have somebody that you want to go to education, it extends to not only like regular workforce development for things that they're doing, but if they wanted to pursue even a college career, they'll even pay for half of tuition costs, which is part of what this particular group was talking about. So they actually do have a website. This packet actually is mostly geared toward the certificate program that they were trying to get us enrolled in. I do have the guy's business card.
What would the certificate be that you could have?
Community policing. They actually have a certificate program for community policing, and basically what they want to do is they want to take an offer for a graduate of the Bluffy or the correctional class to give them college credits for that. And basically this one class on community policing, college level course, that once they completed that course, they would be able to get a certificate from the college in community policing.
What can a person do that community polices?
What's that?
I'm not trying to be.
Yep.
So what does a community police do? Is that law enforcement or is that?
Yeah,
Betty.
the University of Maine is, as it was explained to me, they are building a curriculum that will allow you to get a 2-year college degree in a focus on community policing. So this is a certificate program, which obviously requires less college credits than, say, a degree. So that's what they're pitching to us, that if we have individuals within our organization who have graduated the Bluffy or the Correctional Academy and would like to get this college certificate in community policing, which is it's a college curriculum course based around the concepts of community policing, the history of it and what it is and all of the different aspects of it. If you want the certificate, they will give you college credit for all of for the academy that you took. with this one college course that focuses on community policing, they will then give you a college certificate in that particular program. So that was the purpose of the meeting. They were pitching this certificate program. The purpose that I was here to talk about more was specifically around the Alfond and their opportunity to gain access to this training funds. So basically what they've said to me is, if somebody wants to attend college, if somebody wants to take a training, any training, as long as it has some nexus to what they do. So in my field of law enforcement, all of the trainings that we do have some correlation to the work that these guys do. They will pay up to half and reimburse us up to half of those costs. So it basically essentially by enrolling in this program, if they plan on running it for the next 3 years with this $60 million grant that came from the Alfond group. And it will basically allow me to basically double my training budget, because they're gonna reimburse me for half of everything I send somebody to. So accident reconstruction, at the moment, the chief deputy is really putting a push on career planning for each one of the deputies, for them to be able to set a course for where they want to go in their career and the courses that it will take for them to get there. And we really want to bolster our ranks with our own accident reconstructionists and DREs and all of those things. Those trainings obviously are very expensive, and the cost of training across the board has gone up. That's why we've had to come back and ask for increasing our training budgets every year. So with the Alfond being willing to reimburse us for half of all of our training costs, it's going to allow me to basically stretch my budget by double if we jump into this. And so
Doesn't sound like a bad idea to me.
No, I think it would be very good for us to, have them present to us and.
I think they should present.
Try and figure out, how the county can benefit, because I'm sure they can. In many things, I mean, we all should be taking trainings quite frequently, and we don't, and.
But he speaks of specialized fields, and that's really cool. And we've got other
Right,
departments,
but there's other things that, for their departments, that might be something that, I think we should all look at.
Mr. Chair, would it be okay if we ask the sheriff if he would communicate with these folks and have them come in at our next meeting and present and give us,
A good idea.
you
I'd
know,
like the more.
I really would, and I'd like I'm wicked visual, Jason, and if they could bring us any information on,
Absolutely.
that would be appreciated.
I'll coordinate with Barb to see if I can get him on the next available agenda for everybody.
Thank you.
Awesome. That's all I have.
That's it.
See, I just want to make a mental note that this time I didn't ask for money. I'm actually bringing money.
I got it right,
Huh?
written down right here.
That's
Not
very
bringing
much.
it up.
Good point.
Sit down.
Chalk it up.
Thank you very much, Jason.
5-minute break coming up,
Be break.
and advertise.
You're okay, Barb.
You don't need to run.
How many of those have you had today?
6 so far. I'm kidding. It's not
At
6.
least 3.
It's 5. Well, I've got to eat them. I'm not eating one. I don't want them to go bad.
No, I can't.
Elaine will have to eat some after.
Okay.
I do not have a lot to go over with correspondence, but one item was a request from Olga to make you folks aware, here's 3. Make you folks aware of some warming centers, so I printed that off for you, so you have that. I did not read it at length, but I think it'll be self-explanatory. And I do have a couple of things I'd like to ask you for in terms of clearing out some things from the office. We have all those statute books that are
Get rid of.
27 or 8 years old that we've not kept up the pocket parts because it's just too hard and too expensive and needless. And we use the online.
Everything's online now, anyway,
Exactly.
right?
So they're taking up valuable real estate on the shelves.
Because at
Thank
one
you.
time we discussed this and said, well, we need to keep at least one book of all that. But I still don't think that's necessary.
I always worry about old information being more dangerous than none.
Get rid of it, right?
Yeah.
Get rid of it.
Excellent. And we have a number of things that are at least 15 years old that are CDs. Training, just generic, general, like organizational skills, just
And some of that might be valuable, they can go back to being old fashioned, but, you know, everything changes now and we're techie and, you know, all that stuff now.
Everything's updated. Yeah, get rid of it.
Okay, thank you very much. I know she still hasn't been officially introduced, but we've
Yeah.
all been taking turns and working with Sue and she's picking up things quickly.
For the record, we failed
Awesome.
miserably because we should have had you in here first to introduce her. Because everybody is asking and we won't even tell them her name. Because it was your place.
The mystery guest. I believe that's all I have for you folks at this point, unless Commissioner Shore, you want to talk about Bruce Flaherty's idea.
Yeah,
Spirit of America.
Bad America, well. Bruce sends a yearly letter around and he's got an idea that's not bad this year. I think it's pretty good, really. He wants to take and he looked up all the towns. The oldest serving select board member. He wants to give them a certificate. For what they do, what they've been. And he was thinking more about a meeting, but I think that would be something I was talking to Bob about this 2 days ago, a week ago. So, and I think it would be something that Bob could send to the towns. We could do the certificates and send to the towns. The towns could pass them out at the annual town meeting when there's people there that will appreciate what's happening rather than. We've had like 26 people come, they all get certificates and.
The town doesn't know anything.
Right, and
So-
right, and the town doesn't. know
Yeah,
anything about- the other thing is, I think this year coming up, most of the town, will have open.
Yeah.
Meetings, town
In person.
meetings.
Yeah.
The last year or two, they haven't, so I think it's getting to that point now where they will have their regular.
Oh, yeah.
town meetings.
I think so, too.
So it probably is a good idea.
So you people
So-
for that?
No, I think it's great, and as soon as I understand it, so we're clear. We, the commissioners, are going to select the most
No.
senior selectmen in Waldo County.
Bruce has done a survey, he's got all the names, every town.
Yeah,
Is that
in
what
that
you
card, in that letter he sent.
Yeah, okay, then that makes sense, because I'm looking at the list thinking, these guys are all selectmen, which makes them paid individuals, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so the work is all done.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is. Type up a certificate, send to the town, pass it up to the town meeting, the guy will get recognition, which he should.
Right.
That
No,
town.
no, I love it,
Okay, so we'll send it to the town,
Yeah.
and they will talk about it from there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sounds
So,
good.
I think that's a good idea.
yeah, no, that's awesome.
Let's go with it.
So that's answers your question, Bob? of
Yes, it
what we'll
does.
do?
Yep.
All right.
Very good,
And
thank you.
the one other thing that I had that Amy has been signing the settlement, we get checks, you
The
know,
opioid.
opioid
settlement.
settlement checks, and they sent out correspondence that they're gonna go after Johnson & Johnson and Walmart and maybe 2 or 3 others, and do we want to be part of this, we have to respond by, I think it's April 19th or something, to have paperwork, so I'd like to see that Amy's been doing this, continue doing it, she can work with Bob when the letters come up, we don't need to have them on the agenda to discuss
we
it,
should
just take care of it.
I think we should continue with it. This is a class action suit that we were involved in many, many years ago when we discovered that these opioid distributors had over influenced the market, and hence we're in the problem we're in today. And we were successful in our first class
Oh, yeah.
action.
Factor got $100,000.
131,000, I know that we weren't even planning on, whatever. But then this is part 2 of it. And I just think we should keep going.
Continue.
So I appreciate that, Bill. And do we need to make that a motion that we
We
continue?
could, we could, Betty, you wanna make that a
I'll
motion?
make that motion, that we continue with the.
Litigation, yeah,
And Amy will be the official signer for
I'll
the
second.
county. All in favor?
Yeah, it's
Thank you.
it's a good thing so far. I mean, it's a bad thing, but it's a good thing.
And, I still have to have that check written, for the $1,000.
Oh,
Right, yeah.
well, once you get that done
Right.
today,
Right, I'll try to get that done today.
be sure you say 1,000. I don't want it.
Well, you know.
Hey.
We just had a session on checks and what.
That's right. See what happens.
All right, Betty, we'll do it.
Okay.
Bob, does that do it for you?
Yes, thank you.
Public, yeah, go ahead.
Sure,
Sure.
is it okay if I
Yes, please.
Without further ado, we'll introduce Susan. We'll start with Susan. So I am very pleased to present to you for your agreement approval to hire Susan Frisco as our office associate in the, I call the department or the office of HR. Her primary focus would be to support HR with administrative tasks as well as the county clerk and finance. She comes with a wealth of background, not just from owning her own business for 15 years, but she also has direct experience working as counties and clerks and office experience and HR hiring and running her own business under her own business. So, and being a supervisor, so she's very familiar with how county and government type businesses operate. So I'd like to request your approval to hire Susan Frisco at $21.50 effective January 30th. She'll be part-time, 24 hours a week. And we're going to be flexible and possibly she gets us all caught up with our projects that we may be able to utilize her in other areas of the county because of her extensive background and skill sets.
Don't let her go to the court system.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I will make that a motion.
So welcome aboard, Susan.
Thank
Frisco.
you, everybody. Thank you. I love it.
Be really excited. It's why I'm sorry it's gone the opposite direction, but Susan will also be filling in for the county clerk as Barbara and taking minutes and coming up in April and covering vacation time. So it's great that she's
Betty,
starting
you
now.
want to second that motion?
Okay.
All in favor? Thank you.
Welcome aboard. No, and I am so sorry.
Yeah.
I mean,
Didn't
I've told you a million times that we a lot of times like tend to overstep our bounds because we've had to do certain things. And we kept thinking, nope, that's HR's job. That's HR's job.
Tone of quality.
So of course, everybody's like, who's that? You know,
That's okay.
And
so we're sorry. The lady that is in the audience, Susan.
I
is-
introduced myself to.
Okay, she's also a board member.
Yeah.
The young lady that came to the table, seeking the position of treasurer
Yes.
is also a selectman and one of our board members.
Okay.
So you'll become,
Budget committee.
yes,
Not a board member.
so
Right.
you'll become familiar with them, so.
great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
So welcome.
I'm happy to be here.
And she started her official duties with a donut, so that's a nice little treat to welcome her.
Dang right, that's why she like me, that's why she came in, that's food.
So I'd also like to just great segue into notifying you that Casey Ashley from the Sheriff's Department has resigned from his full-time position and has requested to stay on as part-time as needed. And that was effective January 19th.
What department is it?
Sure.
Sheriff's Department. And he would stay within the Sheriff's Department, but as needed part-time.
Do we need a motion for that to?
Motion to accept.
Accept it?
Yeah.
I'll make that motion to accept that.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
And also I'd like to share with you that Jan Banks from the Registry of Deeds has submitted her resignation and it is effective Friday, February 10th, 2023. She is a part-time and I have been communicating with her supervisor and they're going to start recruiting in hopes to fill it probably in the spring. I'm thinking that right now they're not thinking it's an immediate need. but-
Winter time is slow indeed.
Yes.
But they've been like crazy balls to the wall over the last few years.
Yeah, so I'm
No.
thinking
So
again.
I move that we accept that resignation.
Second.
All in favor?
But thank you so much. So I would like to just digress right into, as your new HR person, I'd give you a little update. As the HR director, I was here 2 weeks this past Tuesday and I processed my first bi-weekly payroll. Yes, we did a great job.
Good.
I've had great support from the company, CGI, ISOL program, support training staff. The employees have been very gracious and we were able to access everything yesterday, encourage the employees to double check their pay stubs, their deductions in hopes that it would be error-free. And we only ended up with one issue and that was resolved. We were right on it. We got it fixed. And so I'm so excited. It is nerve-wracking to process people's paychecks and wanting to make sure it goes through error-free. And that would be something I'm hoping Sue with her detail eye
Yeah.
will be able to be helping me with audit after I do enter everything. So she's going to be very helpful with that, with her experience in detail.
With our Barracuda filter. I noticed I've got some queasy emails that have come through that I've thought, no, I'm not interested in a Russian bride.
Yeah.
You know, I wonder if we need to talk to Jason about tightening up some, I don't know about you guys, but I've gotten some weird,
I get one once in a while, but not,
is it the Russian bride one?
no, no.
When we did this email, we did look, so there was some training I've gone through, security training they call it, and you look at the, like. What's before the @ sign and what's after the @ sign, and this particular case did look legit, and because of the employee's level of position, and it was a Gmail, so it just seemed somewhat legit, but it did not come from Barracuda, so that's a good point. Commissioner
I
Powell.
wonder about that, that's
I did
interesting.
touch base with Jason, but it's all taken care of, and the employee was so gracious, just fabulous. He
Oh.
jumped right on to my recommendation and he all squared away.
Is there gonna be any cost that they have to incur?
No, zero. Instead of, this happened to end up in a paper check than a direct deposit, but it's being FedEx. Today is payday. He'll get paid same day, no hiccup really.
That's cool.
Yeah,
Well
it is,
done.
it was.
Well done.
Yeah.
For somebody, and I made it very clear that you kind of got this like, whoa, in your lap.
But he did great. It was- but
And
everybody-
I'm a technology idiot, truly, I'll admit it, I'll own it, I struggle a lot of days, just my email. So I appreciate, and especially if you can train Susan,
Yes,
on this with an eye, I know some of those things slip right through us and. You don't catch them, so, and I saw it was like, whoa, way too intimidating for me.
yeah, but they were very supportive, responded very quickly, and so. no,
I double paid somebody, just for the record. When I did it. So,
But
yeah,
we resolved that quickly as well.
No, we
I
did.
solved, yes, I solved.
so I'm
it
glad to
very,
hear
very-
you say that,
Yes.
that you're happy with them, because they're
yes.
too intimidating for me. I was like, yeah, no.
It was all, because they're in New Hampshire, it's been by a Zoom meeting and phone. I call it 1-800-SARAH because she's my contact. So the funny is 1-800-SARAH, I have a question. And
Oh.
she had been extraordinary.
I'm
Very,
glad to hear that.
very responsive by phone, email. So yes, so it's been great. And I am just so excited to still be here. I find it even every problem, I love researching it and saying, okay. But I am one to want to get, okay, let's fix it now.
Yeah.
What's the
Yeah.
slow down?
I'm really,
No, I can do it.
Oh.
But it has asked a lot of questions, was able to get answers, so hopefully going forward to mitigate any future type problems. But the best part is that there is a resolution to doing it, like for here, if couldn't have turned it around quickly, we could have solved it here in the office by writing it. And then iSolved would have helped us document it in their payroll history. So I was very, very pleased with this. Excellent checks and balances, audit processes.
wow, that's good.
Yes.
That's great to hear.
Yes,
Has Susan seen I solved it all,
No.
or are you holding
No.
back on that?
I'm holding back on that until you officially accepted everything. Jason's going to, the plan is that he is going to stay after today's meeting and get her set up with her computer and phone.
If you know computers, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, like,
It
if-
can be intimidating, just looking at what she's doing, it's like I said, you gotta.
and my greatest fear was like, that I would screw something up.
Yeah.
I did,
Oh, I.
but I mean, as I said, that was my greatest fear, and I'm not a technology person. I mean, I have to yield to Betty, who's the guru of technology, or Jason, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, no.
Well done, Annette.
Yeah, It's been great. We've shifted some offices and made Susan a nice little space for her that is going to be the face of the office when the public comes in. I hope folks will stop by.
Yeah,
and
make
say
it
hi.
homey.
Yeah, it's very.
I like the office. You like the office? Christ, we didn't tell you that, did we, Betty?
No,
Well, Betty comes back and she's like, who's this and where's Barb? You know, and it's like, oh, by the way.
Oh, Bob was moved.
Yeah.
We introduced ourselves when she came through the door. She tasked me with a couple projects for her, which I've already resolved and ready for you to pick up on your way out. So, and even a couple extra things I thought of because of the circumstances you're in. So I'll go over that with you when you stop by. Okay. Other than that, I think I've shared everything with HR and I would like to be added to the agenda, even if it's just to come in to say hello, give you an update for what I've done for the last 2 weeks and any trainings that I have come up. As you know, I'm a member of a couple HR professional groups and I have a couple webinar meetings coming up, Zoom. And I'd love to share that. I'm trying to stay on top of everything.
We need to have her in on the meeting.
Yes, that's what I already said.
Yeah, you did. We're gonna have a meeting next, at our next meeting with Sheriff Trundy and I don't know what the organization is or whatever, but it's with regards to trainings and they'll give us grant money to pay for half. You definitely
yes.
need to be
Oh,
there.
yes. I love opportunities that employees have and can fund as an employer for them to expand on, if at all possible. And there's no, it's a benefit to the organization, but also minimal impact if you pull them out of their operational needs to do a training. But if we can do it and tape it, so they can do it after the fact.
their own
I mean,
time
it's
and
great.
stuff, yeah. Yeah,
Anything I can
Thank you
do.
for the information you sent to me.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be having to talk about that we should.
No, hopefully that's in the format. I tried to keep it in the same format that you was used to
Sure.
that, so. And then clearly define what the difference of each one,
Yeah,
each section was.
Yeah.
And you got the printed copy. I sent it to you by email. You got the printed copy. I have it in your box.
Gonna get it from them.
Oh, okay. All right. Looks prettier on paper.
Yeah, good.
Okay, so I just a follow-up question. I did type memos for the employees' personnel files. Do you need to sign those or can I just insert them in
no, the notes,
from the minutes?
the minutes will reflect that. You might want to stamp on there that it was, approved by us
Oh,
on such and such a date and then file them.
Perfect.
Okay. It's
Do you have
awesome.
any questions for me or anything you think I can do?
No, other than we're happy you're here too.
Well, I just have to
We
share with Commissioner Short. I was so impressed. It was like day 2 or 3 and he invited me to do a meeting with him, which was very informative, been very welcoming and informative to appreciate how the county runs. And as I mentioned in my interview, the video that Commissioner Johnson had
Yep.
done was so helpful. I tell everyone about that.
Oh.
I'm anxious to get recruiting.
Yeah, I should probably update
No.
it.
Yeah, but still it's nice.
No,
Grab Josh
Anxious
before he
to-
moves. Look at Josh's.
The Keith Neely did stop by. I do have a copy of his job description that was signed by you folks to just give you if you would like that, or you can touch base after, but I will pare it down a little bit to come up with something to at least start posting for that.
that was gonna be my question, because I know Keith goes away for the next 2 weeks or whatever. I think we should be posting it. And that would give us 2 weeks to have stuff, applications and stuff coming in, and that way when he comes back. We can start on because he has what, until April
28th.
28th. And even though you think that's a lot, we're in February, that's March.
Yeah.
By the time you start interview, it's
Going
like,
too fast.
Especially at his level of his position and the level of responsibility he has, it would be great if we could at least come up with the funding to cross-train, have him here to at least do 2 weeks with a new hire.
Yeah.
And I do think he's been here a long time.
His is so
well, he's a department head.
varied.
Oh, very. I mean, and he goes from location to location and then he has a lot of tracking that he does. If we could come up with the funding to have at least 2 weeks with someone, that would be ideal. If we think we could do it longer, even better. To your point, Commissioner Fowler, if we could get it posted, review the resume and come up with the interviews that when he comes back, we could have them start ready. You're right. Block out his schedule. Hey, come back, take your coat off and.
Try to sit down, we have a 9 a.m. We crossed his assistant in any of these things.
Keith about that was because he had shared Chris was, I just met him officially this morning and he started in November. And one thing Keith has always shared with me, the couple times we've spoken about his assistant, is that he's great with the computer. So I talked to Keith about, is there anything that he does now for tracking in the computer that he could start training Chris on? He said yes. So I haven't followed up with him yet today, now that he's officially, we was waiting till he officially submitted his letter to you before talking about it out in public, just because he may change his, I was thinking he might change his mind. He loves us so much, so.
He does.
I think.
Yeah, apparently he said no, he gave me the letter after he announced it to you.
Yeah, take this.
I think Keith is talking also about, redoing his job description.
Yeah.
So, and I had asked for, the evaluations and all the department heads that were not elected positions. And I needed those. I know Kelly was gonna try and give them to me, but hadn't been able to. And also, I'd like to look at those positions, job descriptions.
Okay,
So that I could just look at them and, if I, feel any of them need to be updated to speak with the department heads.
Is that Keith's job description? you
Yes,
have
it
before you? Yeah, I definitely hope you simplify that thing down a wicked lot
or at least for posting and
for
then
posting.
when.
If somebody's truly interested, they're not gonna, you lost them in the first
Oh, yeah.
paragraph. They're not
Yeah.
gonna read that much.
They
And
just-
if they're interested, they'll call and they'll find out more
Yeah, it
details.
could be bullet pointed.
Yeah,
And then
that's-
detail later. Yeah.
Right, it's like when they come in for an interview, or if they want more details after they've applied,
Yeah,
definitely
they can
send.
call
them.
or they can
Yeah.
email or whatever, but they're not
Sure.
gonna read all that.
Like a resource.
Yeah,
And then when folks come in the past, I've always said, okay, here's the job description, well, you get settled in, take a few minutes to take
Yeah.
more to review it, and then share with us how your experience correlates to the
Yeah.
job description, but I would encourage paring it down, and I'll come up with a draft for you folks to.
That
And then,
probably will be a more difficult job to fill than we realized. Because Keith had a good system, a lot of detail. He had them right on the minute. You ask him,
oh, yeah,
I'll give that to you.
but I think if he can, I think Chris. Being good on the computers, because I mean, Keith could, he could.
He goes right to.
He could hit a button and he knew how much oil we were using and what
Yeah.
building and when we ordered it, what the price was then, or. He had a CIP plan, so he could say when a new roof was put on here or whatever. And I mean, if Chris should be trained on that
would
anyway.
encourage that. So I would encourage that, just because I know he's only been here a few months, but what Keith has shared already, it'd be a great opportunity for Chris, if he would like to take on a little more responsibility. And he's already familiar, a couple months. But I do say, folks, can you say I'm new for a year, because it takes a year to go through every cycle, every process, especially for facilities. You've got
Yeah.
4 seasons you're taking care of buildings on, especially with EMA coming on board. Keith was sharing, he started plowing that.
Yeah.
But if we could use some of the computer skills that Chris currently has, that would help.
That's a biggie.
Oh, it is
Yeah.
very much, especially if you find a great candidate from outside. If Chris would pick up those computer responsibilities and reports, it would free up the manager to focus on.
Has the technology assistant we've been searching found his way through the interview of
He,
the process or selection process?
he's in the background phase of it, and because of the level of exposure he would have to all of technology countywide, he's going through an extensive tech background. Not, I say extensive, like, we're not going back to high school.
Right,
he
but
is
it's
going
deeper than,
deeper than if
Yeah.
did for Susan, for example.
yeah,
But he is, Jason has reached out to our background company, and hopefully he should be coming on board. And we're just tightening up the conditional offer and doing all the background for it.
Can you tell us a little bit about him?
we're familiar with this. person.
Yes, we are familiar with this gentleman. His name is Ray, and I'm not aware of his last name actually.
Really?
Montreal? Monreal. Okay, so it's Ray Monreal, and he currently is one of our vendors that provides services
Yeah,
to
sure,
our company.
recognize the name. Yeah.
Yeah, so what the plan is that he'll work for us part-time. If you approve and appoint him, or I should say appoint, but if you agree to the hire. And he'll work part-time for us and he'll keep his business as a part-time basis. And I've already talked with Jason about clearly delineating between what his responsibilities are for us and what we expect while he's on duty for us and how it could or would impact his business on his own.
How many days a week does he have to give to us?
That I haven't, Jason would have to answer that question. I'm not sure how they've worked out that schedule, if it's an every day, like 4 hours a day. I'm not 100% sure. We haven't talked about the number of hours he'll be working, but I will get that information for you.
Is this Ray with telephones he's involved with?
Yeah,
Yes, Spectrum,
Right.
Spectrum. Yeah,
Quality communications.
yeah.
thank you, Barb.
Yeah,
Thank you. I'm sorry.
That's private. He'll come in and pull wires for us and like, for example, with casting, we're getting Susan's phone up and going for her.
Yeah.
But
That should work
that's
out
his own
right.
business. That's that.
You know, the Spectrum deal, I have a Spectrum at home. Man, practically every month. My Spectrum bill is $256 a month.
My CMP power bill has gone up $132
Oh, geez, they were
from
talking
what
about
it was
One
in
month.
November.
How
In
much is
1
your total bill now?
My total bill is $159. It's myself and a dog,
Oh,
unless that little bastard's 2 it's my last bill was $159 and it usually in the winter time would run like maybe 79.
it's
Yeah.
doubled.
It's yeah, more than doubled, because that was like at the highest.
I was thinking of you the other day and I was looking at my bill. And my bill went up to $130. And I said, you got a small.
Yeah, you've been there. Yeah, just a
small
little house.
place. There must be a water heater or something.
Well, believe it or not, I talked to my cousin in Florida who's a plumber, and he's like, you need to check the elements on my hot water heater and my well pump, he said, because he's like, that's.
They're
But
big
you have for a
users.
dryer.
No, I do have an electric dryer, but again, it's me. So I do a load of laundry like maybe every 3 days if I have to, and because I grew up a farm kid, if it's too cold to hang it outside, I have hanging racks.
Yeah,
Oh, I do that too.
All of my appliances are unplugged when I'm not home.
Yeah, I mean,
You use, what's that thing? You use a toaster. in your home.
I even turn off, I have my
Once,
internet and everything plugged into a surge protector, and when I leave, I turn that off because I'm still thinking it's drawing all those computers
Yeah.
and.
No, I do,
TV, I
but
shut
it's,
everything off.
so yeah, boy, wow. See how easily we get
See how we
distracted.
digress. But so circling it back around, I will definitely, if I understood you correctly, Commissioner Johnson, you wanted the job descriptions, correct, for each department head, okay? And I've got one done.
In the last few days.
Yeah. And I will get those, start on that this afternoon.
No hurry, I can't get to it this weekend.
Yeah. So we'll touch base when you come by to pick up that packet I have for you. So thank you very much. And yeah,
Thank
my
you.
apologies for not coming in at the beginning, but I did touch base with Barb early this morning and think, oh God, I should have asked to be put on the agenda when she sent us that nice reminder, and it just, I was focused on payroll. I was locked and loaded on payroll.
That's okay. That's okay. No, we get it. We apologize.
Apologize.
As I say, it was just kind of funny because it was like, no, we can't introduce her. And it's like, so everybody's like, who is she? And we're like, I don't know. We don't know who she is. Is she eating donuts?
We should have assigned her to the beaches.
Grabs the party.
We never really. Ah,
So, well, thank
Excellent.
you. Thank you so much.
excellent. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We're all the way up to public comment.
Actually, we jumped around public comment, but
No, we haven't.
There's
It's just
really
coming up.
not a lot going on with the broadband committee. I mean, we do have the the Waldo Broadband Corporation up and running. And now we're just tying up loose ends and whatnot and finalizing some funding and that sort of thing. And we're still waiting on we are in consideration of an $11 million grant. And
woohoo.
yeah, but there's a lot of, I talked to Bob the other day, and this is Bob Carrick, and he said that there's a lot going on that is going on behind the scenes, it has to be done, you know, by the board, and I'm not on that board right now. I defer to Phil Bloomstein because he's a lot more qualified. So, and the other thing that I came up with this week is I was thinking seriously of writing a letter to some of the corporations to see if they wanted to sponsor us. And if you can think of a corporation that would sponsor us as a Waldo, broadband corporation, shoot me an email. Right now it's. in
Explain to me,
daydream
what do you mean by sponsor you? Are we looking for like financial endorsements to Waldo
Right.
County Broadband Association?
That's because the way it was presented at the last board meeting, Joe Meadows made a very good analogy. He said, we're like the teenager going to the bank trying to get their first car loan. And they have to have mom or dad co-sign. And that's where we are. And I'm thinking the county's not gonna, co-sign for us, if you will. But I'm thinking they wouldn't be putting in a lot of money, but they would back us if for some reason things didn't work out the way they were supposed to. But with the people that we have on board, I'm not anticipating that. It's just one more step to go. So,
Just because I always like to ask the really stupid questions.
okay.
So if you folks do receive the $11 million
Mhm.
grant, I don't know if this is a grant or a
It would
loan,
be a grant. It's from the Maine Connectivity
and
Authority,
you guys have already formed, so you are now your own business.
right?
You have your own title.
Yep.
You have your own accounts, one would assume.
We're in the process of building them, yes.
So if I'm Joe Blow, the plumber, and I'm looking to get, I need to know what's in it for me as a business. Why should I give?
Well,
Waldo,
I'm
is there gonna be a phone book? Is there gonna be some advertising?
No,
Is,
we're gonna be going for the large corporations that do a lot of their business and get a lot of their profit from the use of the internet.
Mhm.
Like Google, like Amazon, those big companies. And I thought about maybe locally like Hannaford. They're big enough so that with people buying their groceries online, because both of my kids do it, and then they have their groceries delivered. I gotta go to the store after this meeting, but
we're old school, okay?
yeah, I'm just an old lady that way, but, if I could get a large corporation, I mean, Joe the plumber would not benefit. It would not do him a bit of good until we got the lines run. And then he could go online and say, this is my website and this is what I can do for my customers. So I'm looking for lack of a better phrase, I'm looking for a rich uncle to back us type thing.
I know when you find it. No, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
And as I say, I think once you guys get a step, but I get where you're at, you're right.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out how we could help.
One of the hurdles I had not thought of, going through the whole process, because I personally have not had any issues with credit for decades, just because I pay my bills and I pay attention and all that
Exactly.
good stuff. And so I never thought of it as not having credit. And that's
Yeah.
what it boils down to. It's not that we have bad credit, we just don't have any credit. And we contracted with the towns to not ask them for anything. And if we did, we would probably be tarred and feathered, because that was part of the entire agreement.
Yeah.
And I just
I'll
don't.
never
wanna-
ask you for anything again. That
It-
sounds like a teenager, actually.
Yeah, well, and now we're going to the bank.
Oh.
We're looking to get bonds, and in order, the way it was explained to me is in order for us to get this money, we have to spend money to get money.
Yep.
And right now, we don't have enough money to spend to get money. And I'm still pushing the guys so that once we start running lines, that once a line is set up, we light it up, meaning people can hook onto it. And, but we're just.
For price, that's how you're
Yeah.
gonna
And-
make money, right?
And I mean, I almost chuckled, Bill, when you told me what your Spectrum bill is. We're looking to get just internet for under, if it's just internet, 100 over 100, we're looking at $60 or less a month.
Well,
And then if you
You'll
wanted
be
to
moving
add,
next door.
I'm
And then-
gonna come out your, move out your way.
Oh,
well, the long term, and this is long-term daydream at this point, is once we get up and running and we actually have a business going, then we can expand to other municipalities. But right now, we've got to get our house in order.
Yeah.
And get things up and running, because we've had a couple of other towns say, well, can we play too?
So you better be grandfather on us 5 towns that started this.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and because that's, that's gonna be the core. And then it depends on a lot of different things, what's gonna be the buy-in, because it is a corporation, and there's a lot of stuff that I don't fully understand, because I don't have the education for it, but I'm trying to. But,
Spectrum's the most horrible company I do business with.
No, I truly.
Terrible.
and when I see their ads on TV, it's like, really?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and,
no,
but it's, we're gonna be a nonprofit, so that's gonna keep the costs down. But we're
Good.
gonna have
but you
some-
reinvest, that's, yeah.
And, and we're not gonna have the corporate entities. I'm not sure just exactly how they're gonna set it up yet, but right now, Bob Currick is the chairman of that board. So he's the one that is, and, he's the one that's kind of, he's not just running it, but he's herding cats. He's the one that's keeping everybody going in the right direction.
Oh, God bless him.
And I only call him when I absolutely have to, because he's flat out, especially this time of year, getting ready for the Palermo's town meeting, and I'm getting ready for Freedoms and so on. So, but that's where we are with that.
Cool, that's
Thank you.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thank you, Elaine.
Well, thank you.
County Commissioners miscellaneous business.
I joined Dale the other day in Augusta. I don't know what day it was. I can never get that day back in my life after spending the day
Wednesday.
under the dome. Under the dome, guys, first of all, I don't miss it. I don't miss a thing. Sitting there for 7 hours and I thought, I did that for years.
I was wondering who was gonna represent us, on legislative, stuff on MCCA. I'm not interested.
I don't know, but I sat there in state and local with Dale.
I didn't
With
volunteer.
regards, yeah, good thing you didn't, love. We had a bill Senator Curry put forth. Elaine, you've heard of speak of it in the past, and for your benefit, Susan, there was a discrepancy in an old map that gave a portion of what is and always was Waldo County, and it actually gave it to Knox.
Oh, well.
And I mean, you look at a map and you just think it's true, and that's not necessarily the case, and instead of, we all could look at it and go, yeah, that's wrong, but it's just not that easy. So we had to go through the legislature and testify and everything else, and
Wow.
and of course, our bill was like 3 so you had to sit there for the first, 2, just going like, oh my God, but it
Did it go
the
through?
testimony went well, and then after they asked Dale to stay for a workshop, where at that point I left, thank you. And Dale called me later, and they immediately did a work session, which is always a good thing. Cause it's fresh on their mind and they're physically there, and they voted on
Good.
pass.
So it's done with.
That's done.
Good
Yeah,
job.
I'm
so,
done. Good.
but yeah, so. Yeah, that's,
Do
And I-
you have anything you want?
I,
Not at this point.
my only other thing is, I spoke with Matt Boldick. I think is his name, from Above Ministry. We've worked with them in the past. They went and cleaned up that mess in Brooks. Remember that situation? They're the church organization. Their ministry goes around and does a lot of really good things for communities, and he would like to come in and introduce himself. I've spoke to him on the phone 50 times and everything else, and never actually met. And he would like to come in and introduce himself to us and thank us, and just make us aware of what their ministry does. It's a really cool group, and they go in and clean up areas that nobody else would. So I told him to be in touch with Barb and get on our agenda.
Anything else? I don't have anything today. I guess we're ready
I'm
to.
gonna make a
Oh,
motion
just
to
a
adjourn.
minute.
Just
Yes,
very
ma'am.
quickly, if all goes well, you will have a tax eviction hearing at your next session. I ended up sending, I decided to get with the 21st Century and emailed them the notice, but it's also gone out the conventional way, which is certified. So, and I recognize it's short notice, and if there is an issue, I'll let you know.
In the next session, you said,
Yeah,
Bob,
the 16th.
we would put that on the end of the meeting.
Yeah, make that the
The end?
last
Okay.
thing.
Unfortunately, you've always told me you like them early when you're fresh, so it's at 10. But you.
Is it a regular commissioners meeting day?
Yes, it is.
Then make it a short agenda for commissioners stuff and
Okay.
then that, but
Sure. I know that my marketing orders have always been do this in the morning early enough so that you can, but, and you usually just keep it in half an hour.
I just don't want to see somebody sitting there waiting for us to.
Understood.
Okay, Betty.
There we go.
Okay.
Second,
All in favor?
yeah, yeah.
Adjourn. We are adjourned.